So I'm going to do a quick video of how I wash my e-bike. So I've got a Cube Stereo 160, awesome enduro mountain bike, and it's properly caked. Been at the bike park in the last week, so it's time for a clean. So this is not a method that's necessarily recommended, it's just one that I happen to use and one that works really well for me. So let's have a quick look at some of the things that I've got. So product wise, I use PTs, using the loam foam. That's really good for getting that grime and dirt off. Secondly, I use the degreaser. I just found it works really well on the drivetrain, and obviously you want the best products to look after the bike. So yeah, PTs works really well. The brush I use for cleaning the drivetrain, it's just one of those that you get in a household store. You know, you go to B&M, somewhere like that, Home Base, something like per pound. It's really stiff, works really well getting into the gears and into derailleur, and I've just found that this works really well for me. I also have an old muck off tool. Primarily what I'm using this for is clearing out any kind of crud that the brushes doesn't really have any effect on. So this is really good just for picking out perhaps some looser stones, things like that. Then just for cleaning the bike all over, I use this brush here. It's what I use for my cars really, or used to anyway. It's got a hose attachment, although I don't use that. This is really good just for going over the bike. And then once all that is done, I'll probably dry it off with either this sort of towel here, maybe that can go nearer the gears, and then I've obviously got a bigger softer towel for the remainder of the bike. Once all that's done, I will use something like this. I picked this up at Aldi, quite cheap, seems to be quite effective on the brakes, so we'll give that a go today. And then the other thing that Aldi do as well is this all-in-one lube. Not really used this before. I actually used the muck off stuff, but I've only got the wet one, and now we've got the dry weather. This should be ideal. So yeah, we'll put that on the drivetrain afterwards, and then obviously give it a bit of a hose down, start from there. One thing you'll see is that I always put a bag over the display. That's just habit, keeps the water out of the display unit, although obviously being Bosch it will be waterproof, and then I just put this rag over the control. I don't mind it getting wet, it's just to stop any excess water going into the electricals. Obviously I'll give it a wipe down. No battery in there at the moment, so that is in the house charging up. So yeah, let's get the hose on things and see how we go. So first thing, just give it a good wash down. I don't use a pressure washer, there's no need really. The bike's going to get dirty anyway, so it doesn't need to be completely pristine. It's just getting the worst of it off and making it look presentable. So yeah, just give it a good, getting all those hard to reach places. Tyres, get some of this crud off here. And so I've got the mudguard, I think it's Pro Guard, and the back here is actually a front mudguard. There's a tip on YouTube that I use to put the front mudguard on the back, and it seems to be quite effective. Handlebars up here as well. Front. Get on in there. Nice and wet. There we go. Let's go down into the neck. And let's have a bit of here. I don't, as I said, I don't like to use a too high pressure on these bikes. If you're being electric, you don't want to be pushing water into places it doesn't need to go. That's what the brush is for. Just come around here, in the back, pull down. Yeah, so it should be wet enough now just to spray it down with PCs. Right, we'll turn this off. Might be quite hard with one hand. There we go. Right. As I said, next thing we do is go straight in with the loam foam. Now this has got two settings. I'm not sure if it's in focus, but on the nozzle you can go for shot or widespread. I think I'll just go for this one because it gives the biggest photo opening it up. Just spray it all over the bike. There we go. Quite therapeutic, this bit. It's safe to use all over the bike as well. It's a really great product. Quite liberally over. You can just get it absolutely everywhere. Go out the front here. It's quite hard with one hand doing all this. Yeah, sorry about that, just dropped the bottle. That's with the nozzle closed, go a bit thicker now. All down here. Really get that all over the bike. We're going to brush this anyway and it'll foam up nicely once we've brushed it in. Open up the nozzle again. Let that bed in a bit. Right, that's looking good. Quickly go around the other side of the bike. All down here, down in the pedals, down in the motor. There we go. Looking good. A-frame. Okay, happy with that. Right. That is just doing its magic. As I said, I use that over. Right, good to go. So we'll just let that work in for a minute or two and you'll come back to me in a minute. So we've let that bed in for 2 minutes and now we're going to get the brush on the bike and just rub it all over and just get into all those places where the mud can creep in. With the frame, handlebars, obviously we can concentrate on this a bit more. But for now, get over here. Do the brakes, do the stem. The forks. Yeah, that's good. Go over the brakes, like we're going to spray those down with brake cleaner shortly anyway, so it's totally fine to do this. Let's get the frame nice and clean as well. As I said, I was at the bike park, so picked up quite a lot of dirt in the last 2 days. Haven't actually cleaned it between rides, which is not something I like to do, but life gets in the way. Here we go. Right, do the battery cover. That's probably a bit where it picks up the most certain mud. Get right in there. Loosen that all off. There you go. Right, we'll give this brush a spray down quickly. Right, there we go. Looking good. Get right in there with this thick brush. You're going to try and get as much off as you can with this brush. I'm going to work hard on the rear mechs shortly, so we won't worry too much about that right now. Just get it off mainly the frame, pedals, cranks. Get that, get spin around. Oh yeah, that's nice. Gets pretty covered, to be fair. Right, saddle. Right, let's tilt the bike over and get on this side. Nice. Looking good. How's that? Alright. Nice. That's looking good. It's looking a lot better than it was already. Right, that's step one done. Now, what we need to do is give that a nice rinse down over the bike. I'll wash off any remaining dirt that's there. A nice soaking all over. Totally fine to get it over here. What the bike's designed for. As I said, this PT stuff is top quality, so it really does do an effective job getting all the crud out. Go around the front of the bike, give that good rinse. Nice. That. Looking smart already. I don't really tend to do much with the tyres, to be honest, because they're going to get dirty anyway, so I don't really waste any time doing those. Go up here, give a good rinse down. Go around the left hand side now. I'm being lazy, not got it on the stand. One thing on this bike, I'll come down and show you actually, is down near the rear tube. It's just down here. It does seem to collect quite a lot of mud down there. And that's where this tool becomes quite effective. Just poking that out there. Let's just work that out. I think it's where dirt is gathering behind the mudguard, but then trapping kind of behind the frame. Obviously the mudguard wasn't ever designed to be there. So just get in there with this long brush, give it a good poke around. Get all that crap out there. There we go. Right, now we can give it another rinse. Not too powerful again there with these. There we go. Give that a nice wash out there. Right, so that's step one done. What I'm going to do now is just let the bike dry before we can dry it properly. But while we're letting the bike dry, what I'm going to do is going to start degreasing the drivetrain using the PT's foaming drivetrain degreaser. Really good product, probably recommend. Yeah. So very straightforward. Make sure the nozzle's on and just go for it. Again, you can go everywhere. And if you want it mainly over the drivetrain, you can. Normally I'd have the bike in the air to do this, to get it on a chain, etc. It's going to be quite difficult, but we'll turn it back with our hand. It smells really good too, and it's going to work its magic as well, so we just get that all the way through. Let's turn that. Get it all through the chain. Obviously we're going to get the thick brush on it shortly as well, so that'll be quite effective as well. But we'll just let this do its thing for the time being. Just going to turn the clutch off on here. So remove that freely as well, that always helps as well, just to turn the clutch off. It just makes it easier to get in there with the brushes, etc. So that's doing its thing. Come back in a minute or so once you've let that bed in. So now that you've let the degreaser do its thing on the bike, what I like to do is get this kind of like this hard bristle brush. I got it from B&M, actually. It's only about 75p a pound. And then the best thing to do is just get it onto the rear gears and then just give that really good going over down into there. Jockey wheels all over the rear mech, down into the first jockey wheel, get it worked in, go around the back, dead straightforward. Give all the gears good, work it in, work the product in. So that's that, and then what you're going to do is go over the chain as well. To the rear mech, just give that a bit good brush. Really good product this, do like using it. Okay, go over the chain, get that one in there. Alright, especially the head. And then go back over the top chain here. Trying to fling it around too much because you can have old lube on here. You don't want it getting necessarily on the brakes if you can help it. Go right round to the front here. Give that a good brush here. Get right in there. Good brush. There we go. Move the pedal. That's going to get everything super clean. The next rider working beautifully. Right, let's just give that final turn. Let's go over this bit. There we go. Right, that is looking good. That properly worked in now. Really pleased with that. It's going to work a treat. Alright, let's move this down. What I was doing there, let me try and do it with this end. Get in there. Turn the clutch off, and good to go. Right, that's going to do its thing. Really good brush up. What I tend to do after that is give it a good wash down. That means really that it's ready for the next time you wash the bike. Okay, that's that done. Right, what we're going to do now, this is why I didn't dry the bike, it's going to get wet again. So now the product, now PT's dry pane degreaser has done its job. What we do now is just hose down that part of the bike. There's no point drying it once you've washed it, so you just vacuum it out again. Here we go, brand new, really good product, very easy to use. Safeties all over the bike with a good brush. And that's that bit done. We'll give that a quick turn. What we just saw there is me turning it with my hand. Make sure we get all parts of the drivetrain nice and wet. Look at that chain, sparkling. Really good. That is that. So, without further ado, all that's required now is a bike. Nice, good, dry. I like to use this drying towel actually. I bought this for my car, primarily because of the size of it. Got a large car, so this makes short work of that. It's actually from Halfords. Makes drying jobs a lot easier, as you can see, because you've got a bit of damp on the product. On the towel already, you can just wipe the screen clean now, and there you go, it's ready to go. Just give that all a good. Try and get any standing water off the bike if you can. Go down there. Go down the shocks. Give that a nice dry. Comes up really nice in this bike with a quick wash like this. Carbon frame, looks proper stealthy. I do like it a lot. There we go. We're going to clean the discs in a minute. That's the last job we're going to do. Try and get all this water off. Try and get as much standing water off as we can. We don't want any resting on the bike. So the bike's still dry, but you don't want any corrosion setting in anywhere. Just be a little bit careful around by drivetrain, because you never know, there might be some grease still there. Don't spread that around too much. Come down to the A-frame, just get the wires of this off. down by the rear mech A-frame. Look at that. Come up really nicely. Yep. Just going to nip around the other side of the bike now. Do the left hand side. There's another little trick actually that I saw on, I think it was Instagram, about getting the water off the bike. I'll show you in a second what I do. It's very straightforward. Just get any fine or standing water off. There we go. That is really good. There we go. That is about as good as you're going to get with one hand. And I'm pretty pleased with that. So, another trick is just pick the bike up, just drop it a few times, just shakes out any water left standing on the bike. Nice and effective. It's not going to do any harm to the bike, so just take bigger hits than that. Then you can see if there's any other water. Go those final few spots. This is a brilliant shock. Really, really good, really effective. RockShox Deluxe Select Plus. Very happy with this component on the rear. Paired with the RockShox Zeb Select as well. Again, absolute quality on this bike. Way beyond my capability. But it's good to know you've got some good equipment there. So that's the bike clean. Don't need the hose anymore, so I'm going to wind that away, just let it air dry slightly, and I'm going to come back in the next shot where you'll see me doing the brake cleaning and lubing the drivetrain. So I'll be back in 1 second. Okay, so a couple of other products that I didn't mention right at the beginning that I do like to use on my bikes. So I use this silicone lubricant on the dropper post, and I also put a little bit on the shocks, and then I just cover off some of the other moving parts, crank, brake pedals, brake levers, sorry, thinking of the car, a few other parts of the bike with this muck off. It's very good as well, just gets rid of silly water. So in terms of the dropper post and how I use this, just put the dropper into its extended position, just seat's gone up. You literally just need one spray down into the tube there, let that set in. What you might want to do, is going to be quite hard for me now, is just push this up and down 1 or 2 times and let that. Obviously if there's any excess, just wipe it off. That's straightforward. Just bit of kitchen roll, and then, sorry, just wipe it off there, and then push the drop up and down, and that will keep that nice and lubricated. And again, the other part I like to use this, and you've got to be a little bit careful where you spray, because obviously you don't want it on the brakes. Just a gentle spray down the top of the fork there. That's all that's required, just a little bit. Single spray on each one, just keeps that nice and lubricated. And then you can just push down, just get that bedded in. So have a quick push down here. Right, keeps the forks lubricated, and we'll do the same with the dropper. Pushing that down, back up again, down, back up again. That's probably lubricated now. That is going to work beautifully the next time you depend on it. In terms of MO 94, again another product. You could use that for the same jobs, just in and around the bike. Where I tend to use it is just down here on the pedal, just make sure, just a tiny bit there. Again, tiny bit on the other pedal, just in case we ever need to get those off. Tiny bit in the brakes here, not loads, so you don't want to make it too hard, but just dries out any water that's in there. Then we'll go in from the other side here. Just keeps everything functioning quite nice. And then the other area which you use is just some of the bolts up here. Again, not absolutely essential, but peace of mind if you want to drive out any water, and then obviously anything excess, get a good wipe off here. It's dead straightforward. There we go, nicely done. I keep everything working absolutely top notch. One other area actually, I will actually put a bit of this MO94 on. It's just down here. Just get the. It's quite hard to get in. Just try and do it with one hand, not spray myself in the face. There we go. Just a little bit again around here. Don't need loads. Again, push down. That just keeps everything working really nicely. Just wipe off a little bit of the excess there. There we go. Nicely lubricated. Everything is looking sharp. So what we're going to do now, put the clutch back on. Clutch in. And we are going to, what are we going to do? We are going to lube the chain. So need to go get a clean rag just to dry that off from washing the bike earlier. I'll come back in a second. Right, so before we do the chain, probably going to do the brake cleaner, I think. I've never used this before, so let's have a quick look at the instructions. Place back a stand choice, apply the brake cleaner direct into the brake and wipe away the dirt using a clean cloth. Yep. Leave to evaporate. Well ventilated area. Nice and straightforward. So let's go to the front first. Hopefully this sprays out nice and even. Do you know what, actually it's quite hard to work on this side of the bike, so I'm going to just swap it around, come back to you in a second, bear with. Right, that is better. That makes it a bit easier to get to the parts we need with this brake cleaner. Let's give that a go. Nice, that is going on really neatly actually. Let's get around this other side. That's good. That's enough of that. Let that evaporate. You can wipe it off, but ideally you don't want to touch it because you may contaminate it. Let's get some of that on the rear brake. Give that a bit of a spin as well. Nice. Give this one a bit of a spin. So we'll just do the same area. Very good. Okay, we are looking good. Last but not least is getting some lube onto the chain. So give me 1 minute and I'll come and do that. Okay, so lubing the chain. First things first, because we just washed the bike, I know I've tried it and you saw that earlier, but I'm just going to give it a wipe down with the cloth just to make sure any excess water is removed. Just get all over that. It's quite straightforward. So turn it with my hand. Okay, there we go. That's most of it off now. The easiest way to do this with this bottle, what I've done is I've got the link chain right there, so that will do one rotation and come back to here, and you're just doing one drop on each link rotation as you go around. Very straightforward. So I'll do the top half and then I'll speed it up and you'll see me back at the end of the video. There you go, there's the link chain, so we just do this section here and then we are done. Right, so that's lubing chain done. Best thing to do now is wipe off any excess. It's just the same rag as before. As I said, you don't need loads of lube. Just get a nice clean part of the rag. Here you go. Wipe off any excess. Just make sure you haven't got loads on there. We'll go all the way around. There we go. Underneath as well. Just rotate it again. So we've got a new section. There we go. Go all the way up again. One more time. There we go. There you go. That's the excess sorted. Now, ideally what you'd do is you'd run it through the gears here, just make sure the lubrication gets into all the areas. Obviously that's very difficult for me with one hand and a heavy e-bike, but take my word for it. Just put it on a quick stand, run through the gears top to bottom. That makes sure that the lube goes from the top to the bottom of the rear cassette and everywhere else it needs to go. But other than that, that is how I wash my bike. As you can see, it's come out brilliantly. It's fully lubricated now for the next ride. As I said, I don't bother with the tyres, that's just a waste of time. Personal preference, that is. This method is really effective for me. It's quick, it takes about half an hour and it's done and the bike is ready for another ride. So that's how I wash my bike. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.